What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, well, you're about to get familiar. My name is SIKKY Beats. I'm a producer from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I make beats, I make vlogs, I make tutorials. I do a lot of creative things. And if you are new to the channel, you probably don't know, we do this thing here called 2-Minute Tuesdays, where I basically try really hard to teach you about mixing techniques, sound design techniques, anything that I can in under 2 minutes. But let's be honest, I don't actually end up being 2 minutes because there's just so much to talk about in a topic. So it's okay if we go over the 2 minutes, but we try to stick between the 2 minutes so you get as much information in as little time as possible. So I know I've been away for the last little while, and that's because Bruno, my dog, he has epilepsy. He basically has seizures every couple of days, and they can be pretty bad. So been taking care of him. Because of that, I've been, giving him as much time as I can, but he's doing better right now. He's actually here with me right now on the floor if you see me looking at him. Anyways, you guys, so today's video is about soft clipping. Now, you might be Googling around on the internet.
How do I make my beats more full? How do I make my beats sound hard? How do I make my beats sound more like SIKKY?
Anyways, you might be going online, you might be like, oh, how do I do this and this? Oh, I find it very helpful if you put a soft clipper on your master bus. It makes it sound extra punchy and extra saturated. And so for all the audio snob and nerds, I'm about to show you a better way of doing soft clipping. A better way to make your drums sound punchier, a better way to make your mixes sound a little more fuller. Online, when you're doing some research, you might find that there's some vague explanations on things like what is soft saturation or soft clipping? What does it do? When do you use it? Why do you use it? All these questions that kind of sometimes get left unanswered. So I'm hoping that this video will be the remedy to that. Basically what soft clipping is a form of distortion. In the lamest, simplest terms, a pleasant type of distortion where you have second and third harmonics that kind of add a little evenness and tone and grit to whatever you're mixing. It's something that we find pleasing as listeners versus a very clean and sterile mix. That is what a soft clipper is. It basically distorts the peaks, basically softens the peaks or the transients of a sound, usually rounding them out. Now what that means is if you have like a really sharp transient, it'll basically curl it in that way, but you'll still have the punch. Whereas when you have a limiter, it'll just flatten it out, which is why you'll probably hear from producers online that, you should remove your fruity limiter from your master bus and replace it with a soft clipper. Now, what I want to do today is I want to show you how to use a soft clipper, but take it to the pro level, to the next level on how to actually get it to sound even better. We've explained what a soft clipper is, but why do we want to use it? Well, you'll tend to want to use a soft clipper because you either want your mixes to sound a little bit fatter, you want them to sound a little bit punchier, you want them to sound a little bit fuller. That is the reason why I would choose to use a soft clipper instead of a limiter. Two places that I think the soft clipper really shines is on your master bus and a drum bus or a kick channel. So that's where I think you tend to get the most value and the most results out of. That is basically a few whys and hows and whats of a soft clipper, and I hope that kind of makes some sense. If it doesn't, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll try my best to answer that. Okay, so we're back at my desk. I want to show you the song that we'll be working with and how it sounds like after we've put the sauce on it. So check this out. Okay, so that sounds really cool. That sounds really good. If you're wondering where the sounds are from, the loop is exclusively available through my Patreon, and the drums can be found on my website. Links for both will be in the description. Most times when you're online and you're doing some research on how to get your drums to sound a certain way, someone might tell you put a fruity soft clipper on there. Totally understand why one might think, okay, this is great because 2 knobs, simple, really easy to use, but I feel like the soft clipper only gives you so much power. So check the song out before and after the soft clipper. You will notice only a little bit of a difference, not a huge difference. So bypassed and then on. Watch my mouse here as I turn it on. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, what I'm hearing is that the kick sounds a lot fatter and everything kind of comes together. and becomes one unified sound. So where I think that you can take the soft clipping technique to a whole nother level is simply by using a bus compressor, an EQ, and a fruity Waveshaper, a lesser known tool. What we're going to basically do is we're going to use the SSL compressor. You can use any compressor. I just like using this one for my mastering process. And the way that I've set it up is I have a ratio of 4:1, slowest attack, fastest release, and I'm going to be doing about 3, maybe 4 dB of compression. So this is what that sounds like. So if you're listening, you'll hear that it kind of brings it all together. The kick becomes a little more punchier. Honestly, it doesn't sound all that great with the kick sounding the way that it does. I actually feel like the kick becomes a little more punchier in the 100 to 200 range, but what we want to do is actually make it a little bit fatter, a little bit heavier. You'll see as we're adding these plugins, they're actually meant to drive into the fruity Waveshaper or the soft clipper. So you'll see here that we've boosted and cut a few frequencies, and you'll see that we're doing very, very, very small moves, like less than 2 dB, less than 1 dB in here. So you can see we're boosting around 40 hertz and cutting around that punch of the kick drum I was telling you about. So listen to how this sounds like before and then after. Okay, so that sounds cool. It sounds punchy. It sounds a little bit fatter to me, a little bit cleaner. Now, where the actual sauce comes in is fruity Waveshaper. Now, most of you probably are wondering, well, why would I use a fruity Waveshaper when I can use a soft clipper? The reason why that you would use a fruity Waveshaper over the soft clipper is because the fruity Waveshaper actually gives you a lot more control over the shape of your sound. Here you can see this really strange looking preset that I've kind of made for myself. And the reason why I do it this way is the signal comes in from the left and it hits this peak right here. It starts to get rounded out and then it dips out. This little dip is what creates the little buzz in the transients of the kick drum and the snare and the percussive elements, and it starts to get even out towards the top. Another preset that I like to use for this saturation is the quick sat, or you can also alternatively try the fruity Waveshaper's own soft clipping presets like this. So basically, you can use the fruity Waveshaper to create a tone, a shape that will actually shape the distortion and the saturation that is being applied on your whole signal. Now, what I like to do is we've done the compression to shape the transient on the drums with the SSL compressor, and we've shaped it with a parametric EQ to bring out the body of the whole song, the bass, and we're just basically cleaning it up and getting the signal ready for what's about to happen in the fruity Waveshaper. Now, when we actually hit the fruity Waveshaper, this is what it sounds like as we drive it in. You'll start to see that it sounds a little more punchier, a little more fuller. It'll definitely sound really fat, and try and pay attention to the transients in the song, in the drums, in the snares, in the kick. That's where you'll really hear it. Now, if this sounds a little bit too strong for your taste, if it sounds too aggressive, what you can also try is the soft clipping preset, or even better yet, this quick saturation preset right here. And it does the exact same thing. And let me just set this up real quick for you. So you can see that after we've applied all of this processing, it makes the whole song sound way fatter, way bigger, way beefier. Wow, I sounded like Carnage there for a second, but let's hear what the song sounds like before and after this processing. Okay, that sounds really good. To me, that is how I would probably end up releasing a beat if I were uploading it to my beat store. Another thing that I want to touch on is the Fruity limiter and why you shouldn't be scared to use it, because it actually is a really great tool if you know how to use it. Now, you'll see that if we turn off everything and we try and do the same processing, again, we'll just turn down the ceiling and get a little bit of... So you can see the Fruity limiter kind of softens the transient. It sounds a lot less punchier in my opinion, but how you can actually make it sound good is by using it right after your soft clipping and saturation stage. So check it out. And you would actually have the ceiling up at 0 or something, and we'll just turn that up. And you don't want to go anything crazy with the Fruity limiter. You want it to do basically be tickling the meters. So you can see here, even in the metering, what it sounds like before the processing and what it sounds like after the processing. So let me show you. This is the before. So you can see that right here is the transients of the kick drum, and right here you can see how it kind of brings everything together and how much fatter the peaks of that is. So that is basically the sauce on how to use the soft clipper way better, way fatter, way more louder. Okay, so we've talked about how to use it, where to use it, what it is, when to use it, all that stuff. I want you to test it out on your own tracks, on your own beats, and see how it can improve the quality of your beats. It's one important thing to mention, as producers, when we learn new things, we tend to kind of start to overdo them. So be very careful, especially with the Waveshaper, to try and be subtle with it. Use the dry wet mix knob in that plugin to help kind of shape the sound and add some subtlety to it. It'll definitely help. And if you want any of the sounds that I used today, they can be found in the description, my Patreon, and my website for my drum kits. Before I let you guys go, one quick little announcement. In the next couple of days, I'm thinking maybe in a week or maybe 2 weeks, we'll probably be hitting the 2,000 subscriber milestone. And if I forget, I want to thank you really quickly on all of your support and everything that you guys have done so far by watching the videos, giving me feedback, commenting, sharing the videos. Everything is all happening because of subscribers just like you, and I sincerely couldn't have done it without your guys' help. I know I say thank you a lot. I'm sorry. I'm also Canadian and we say sorry a lot too. When we get close to hitting that milestone, I will be doing a live stream counting down to my 2,000 subscribers, and I hope that you guys will join me. I will also be announcing a drum kit that I've been working on for the last 3 months at this point. We'll be doing a live stream countdown of us reaching this huge milestone of 2,000 subs. On that day, I will be announcing and releasing the pre-orders for my drum kit Quantum by SIKKY. It's been a long time coming. I've been in and out of the home studio and at the studio in Nanaimo to get these sounds to sound A1. I hope you guys will join me on that. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, share it on Twitter and Instagram. Feel free to tag me in that post. Thank you so much for watching. My name is SIKKY, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.